right, welcome back to Q13 Fox News this morning. Good to have you on your Thursday. Multiple sclerosis is the most common neurological disorder among young adults, and next month the Seattle area will walk to support people living with the disease.
Patti Shepard-Barnes is the president of the Greater Northwest MS Society. Ryan Asdorian is living with MS. He's also the Seahawks mascot Blitz. Guys, thank you both so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
And Ryan, we'll get to your story in just a moment. First, though, I want to get kind of a baseline here in terms of what MS is exactly and why more people tend to get it in this part of the world.
Well, I wish I could answer your second question.
Yeah.
One of the highest incidents in the nation is in Washington State. There's a higher incidence in Eastern Washington than there is in Western Washington. Really? There are actually 12,000 people who have a known diagnosis of MS that have disclosed that to us, and we know there's thousands more who have MS who have not connected with the National MS Society yet. We don't know the cause and we don't know the cure, but the good news is that up until the mid-90s, if a person was diagnosed with MS, there was nothing we could do. There was no treatments for MS. And now we have 8 disease-modifying therapies, thanks to research, that help many people with MS. We don't know why one drug works better than another on certain people, but it does. And in some people, none of the disease-modifying therapies work.
We've heard that it can be tough just to diagnose to begin with. So Ryan, take us back to when you were first diagnosed. What was it that made you go in to get checked out in the first place?
Sure. If you think about that feeling when your foot's asleep, I kind of had that feeling, but it started on both feet and then it kind of moved up my legs, and about a week in, it kind of was all the way up to here. My whole body was numb and tingling, and I was like, well, something's definitely wrong. I better go in and see a doctor. And I got really lucky. It usually takes a long time for people to actually get the diagnosis, but you know, great doctors here, familiar with MS because of the incident rate, and they were able to diagnose me in about 3 to 4 weeks. So, how
has MS affected your life? How has it affected your gig as Blitz?
Yeah, so I've been very lucky. You know, the drugs that I'm on have been doing very well for me. MS is lesions in the brain, and so those have not really changed that much for me, which is great. And I'm still able to do the Blitz gig. I love it. It's the greatest job in the world. But as far as how it's changed my life, you know, you got to look at everything as a blessing, and it's really one of those things that's connected me with so many people through the fundraising I've done, and it's opened up so many doors and experiences that you know, it's great.
And Patti, tell us more about why you've dedicated your life and your career to this cause.
I have, my whole career has been dedicated to nonprofit health care. When I was first introduced to the National MS Society, one of the things that just stood out is how determined and how inspirational people are that are diagnosed with MS, and how we just need to do more to help people.
And folks can get involved on April 15th. We have the big MS Walk coming up. Talk about that and how folks can get involved with that.
So the MS Walk on April 15th is one of 8 walks we have in Central and Western Washington over that weekend. We'll have about 5,000 people. We go out the Burke-Gilman Trail. Many of these people have MS. Many of these people are friends or family members of people with MS, but there's also a lot of people there who don't know MS and who've come to walk, and we use it as an opportunity to educate.
Ryan Asdorian and Patti Shepard-Barnes, thank you so much for coming on today. The Big Seattle MS Walk coming up on April 15th. More information and how to sign up for that, you can go to our website, Q13fox.com.
And at 7:45, it's time to check in with MJ for a look.